Alek Manoah calls out a reporter who had a lot to say about him and his work ethic. And we also have Teoscar Hernandez speaking out on the postseason series that the Blue Jays had against the Mariners last season. So we're going to break that down and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Nick Gosse. No Peter today. He wasn't able to make it, but the daily grind continues. So before we do get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like the daily content and you want to see it continue. And Peter will be back for tomorrow's video. And apologies for the late upload. Our schedules have been crazy, but we have some great stuff to get into today, and some crazy stuff went down on Twitter. So let's just get right into the first topic, which is Alek Manoah calls out a reporter. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it on Twitter or on Reddit and things like that. Essentially what happened was, I believe on an MLB network, a reporter went on, live television and called out Alek Manoah, called out his weight, said he wasn't really in shape, called out how he needs to, lose some weight before he can be considered necessarily a top pitcher. And Alek Manoah had a lot to say about that. So the original tweet was Alek Manoah also just getting called fat out of nowhere on live television. And Manoah immediately claps back saying, "Hey, Anthony Recker, my job isn't to please you. You're an outsider. You don't know me or my work ethic. What I do in the gym has clearly worked. Check the numbers. Sucks you can't say the same for yourself." Now, this was this tweet blew up. We had, all fan bases, Yankees fans. I saw tons of Yankees fans, obviously tons of Jays fans, tons of, every single team coming to defend Alek Manoah, because what he said, at the record, that is, the reporter, I guess, what he said was just uncalled for. For one, he called out, professional athletes' weight, which is never okay. You can't do that under any circumstance. There's no need to do that. There was no need for him to say that. He didn't call out his performance. He called out his weight and his work ethic, which is something that you cannot do, especially because of how good Alek Manoah is. He logged 200 plus innings last year, I do believe. And people had tons to say about Twitter, or tons to say about it on Twitter. So I'm going to pop up this right now. This was his second tweet. So Anthony Recker, the guy who actually did call him out on television, said, "Don't let someone throw a video out of context at you and get you upset. You're an incredible talent, and I'd love to see you make the most out of that. I hope to see you continue to get better and be great for a long time. I wish I had even a tiny speck of the talent you do." And Alek Manoah did not take it well, necessarily, or he didn't, accept the apology. He said, "You're just like everyone else, love to talk, and then want to say sorry when you get called out. If you want to know how an all-star, first-team MLB, and Cy Young finalist trains, come meet me." Which was a very fair response. And obviously Anthony Recker, he did, apologize to a degree. He didn't really apologize for the unnecessary comments that he made. He kind of just said he respects him and he wish he had some of the talent you did. And people on Twitter were obviously going crazy, especially because, Anthony Recker played in the MLB. He didn't necessarily perform well, and people were kind of calling him out for that. Now, I'm kind of the, the mindset that no matter whether you're allowed to criticize an MLB player. If you're a reporter, if you're anyone, you can criticize them, but you don't call out. There's some things you don't cross the line. You don't call out their weight. You don't do any of that. So that was very uncalled for. Another screenshot here from Nay saying, "Using Manoah's weight as a point against him is insane. Has anyone considered that his frame might actually help him be more durable? Nearly 200 innings in his first full season is super rare." And I want to know what you guys have to say about that. He is, he's been unbelievable since he's come up. He's been one of the most durable pitchers in the MLB. So to call out his work ethic or performance at all is just, it's unbelievable. It's uncalled for, and it really does not make a whole lot of sense. And, his frame probably helps him be able to be so durable, throw fairly hard and things like that. Another screenshot here from Mike Wilner saying, "Alek Manoah dunks on former MLB backup catcher who hit 199 with 18 home runs over part of 7 seasons." And again, I don't think that necessarily, Anthony Recker's performance on the field as an MLB player can really, that's not really the main issue here. If he would have said it, just criticize his performance in general and had a take about his performance, that would have been more acceptable. But it was just the way he went about it, and that's the thing that I want to hammer home here. Is just the way he went about it was not acceptable and wasn't, fair to anyone. And this was there was tons of reactions on Twitter. This is from Blue Jays World Update saying, "Alek Manoah is a role model and again proved that Wednesday night by speaking out against Anthony Recker's body-shaming comments. There's no place for bullying anywhere, especially in sports. The world needs more people like Manoah." And I completely agree, and that is where he absolutely crossed the line. And it was funny to see, not necessarily funny, but it was good to see Alek Manoah, clap back, as you expect he would, as he's such a, big, personality, especially on social media and for the Blue Jays. And he is he's our foundation for the rotation for years to come. But one final screenshot, Marcus Stroman got in on the action, calling out Recker, saying, "You're not interested in spreading hate, yet you're on MLB Network hating and body shaming on one of the best pitchers in baseball. You make zero sense. You're a clown for that. You can't grow the game by tearing down its players. Be better or get off TV and go find a hobby." And that's the last screenshot I got for you guys. But Marcus Stroman coming to defend, as a former J himself, coming to defend a fellow pitcher in Alek Manoah. So that'll wrap up the first topic. Let us know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on that, and what your opinion is on the comments that were made, because I think they're very uncalled for. And I'm just excited to see Alek Manoah pitch again. We're getting close to to opening day. We're getting close. But let's get into the second topic now, which is another incident that kind of happened. Not really an incident, but Teoscar Hernandez speaks out on the playoff series that he played as a Blue Jay last year, and he speaks out on it now for the first time as a Mariner. So I'll pop up this screenshot right here. Teoscar Hernandez says, everyone wanted to face Seattle in the playoffs, but not him. I knew they had a pretty strong pitching staff, starters, and relievers, and I didn't want to face that in the playoffs, so I wasn't happy. Now, this had Twitter a bit in a bit of a weird spot, because a lot of Jays fans were saying, that's a bit of a weird comment to make, saying that he wasn't happy to face the Seattle Mariners. Maybe saying some people were saying, was he scared to face the Mariners? Why is he saying that? After, of course, the Jays, they got destroyed by the Mariners, to be quite honest. They got destroyed by the Mariners. So for him saying that now, in hindsight, saying that, I'll pop it up one more time, saying that he didn't want to face them because they had great starters, relievers, all that, he wasn't happy, is very interesting after it happened, and now that he's a Mariner. But I want to let you guys discuss this in the comments. Do you think that comment was uncalled for? Do you think it was, weird? Or do you think it was just him, trying to, pump up his new fan base? And I think that's ultimately what it is. I don't even know if I believe that in the moment he actually believed, in the moment when he was a Blue Jay, I don't even know if he believed that the Mariners were a team that he necessarily was scared of. I don't think that was actually the case at all. I think that he's just saying that now to get some, goodwill with the new fan base. And we had another tweet from Lewis saying, this is a rare both fan bases are concerned quote after the Gate 14 podcast. Shout out to them. Just quoted it with a bunch of question marks, basically saying, why are you tweeting this or saying this, Teoscar, after, the beatdown that we got. And again, I think it ultimately comes down to the fact that he's on a new team. The Blue Jays traded him away, so maybe he's a bit, maybe a bit upset a little bit. Maybe not upset, but maybe some ill will there. And he just wanted to say that, he was scared of the Mariners before they played him. But I don't ultimately think that was even the case. I think that's just him putting on so he can, open up to his new fan base. But I don't even know if his fan base, the Mariners fans, they might think that's a bit of a weird quote as well. But as Lewis said, rare both fan bases are concerned quote. But let me know what your thoughts are on that. A very weird situation, a very weird, thing to say. But ultimately, it's probably just him, being nice to his future team, and I wish him the best, and I'm excited to play him in the upcoming season. It's gonna be interesting to see. But we'll move into the final topic now, which is the Jays offseason is graded. So a news source released their top their offseason grades for every single team, and I'll get into it right here now. MLB offseason grades for all 30 teams according to the MLB the Athletics MLB staff. So you can look at tons of them here, and we'll get into a couple. Before we do get into the Jays, some notable ones. The New York Mets get an A-. You can maybe argue for them to get an A+. The Mariners got a B-, so we'll keep that in the back of our minds here. The Boston Red Sox got a C-, and those are kind of the main ones there, with the, obviously the Houston Astros getting a B+, and the Yankees getting a B. But looking into the Jays here now, as you can see in the top right, the Jays got a B+. So the Jays did really well, according to the other MLB and the AL East teams, and better than the Orioles, better than the Red Sox, better than the Yankees. Now we discussed this a little bit. We had our own video where we graded the Blue Jays offseason, so you can go check that out if you like to. If you want to see the whole video, we had a full breakdown about it. But I just want to touch on it quickly. I think B+ is exactly where they should be, and obviously they just signed Chad Green, so I think you can maybe make an argument for an A-, and an A- around there is what we graded them ourselves before the Chad Green signing. After the Brandon Belt signing is when we kind of bumped it up to an A-, and I see some people on Twitter even saying they could be an A, an A+. But I think if you look at the rest of the graphic here and the rest of the teams, we had one of the best off seasons. Obviously, the Rangers had a phenomenal off season. The White Sox had a horrible off season, but the Blue Jays at B+ is very, very solid. Obviously, the Phillies did well. But regarding, other AL East teams, like I said, Red Sox, according to the Athletics MLB staff, had a horrible offseason, which I would tend to agree with. They obviously lost Xander Bogaerts, and you have the Orioles with a C+, a pretty poor offseason. The Mariners had a fairly good offseason. They had, Teoscar Hernandez, and they're obviously not in the AL East, but just kind of because we made a trade with them was a very interesting one. And one last thing I'm going to show you guys here from this is the Atlanta Braves got the exact same grade as the Toronto Blue Jays, which is very interesting for all you guys looking at the, obviously a big Dalton Varsho trade where we gave up all of our players, Gabby Moreno, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., we ended up doing pretty well ourselves, and I think that goes to show that ultimately it was a very good offseason for the Blue Jays if they are done. We obviously had a video yesterday on the Chad Green signing and how it was a really good signing. And the offseason as a whole is pretty much done. Maybe one more outfielder. But as a whole, you can't be too upset. A B+ is very, very solid. And the Athletic does great work over there. I've seen some crazier rankings with the Blue Jays, B- and things like that. I think that is too low. I think B+ is exactly where they should be. But that'll wrap this one up. We had a lot to cover today. Tons of news, tons of quotes, and it's been very interesting. And Peter will be back for tomorrow's video. So thank you guys for tuning into the solos. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like daily content every single day. We guys got you covered. And we'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Thanks.